link on how to get there from my MySpace page. So if you just look me up, you'll be able to get to the link there. So so now I'd like to introduce our very own Lynzie and Mercedes. Thanks for being here, ladies.
If you've got a question, the voices of resin I hear. Oh, PlastChicks.
PlastChicks is an SPE sponsored podcast.
Yep.
Hey, girl.
Hey, how's it going, Lynzie?
You know, it is just lovely. I got my nice sweet background up here.
I love it. I have my sweet
I see that you went for a real background.
Yeah, still have not figured out how to do fake backgrounds. Otherwise, well, actually next week I will, and then I'll send you the bolo tie. See, Lynzie, okay, first we should introduce ourselves.
We're getting all off course already.
Okay.
So this is PlastChicks. I'm Lynzie Nebel. I am the Vice President of Membership Engagement now. Just switch that. I work for a company called Tech Tank in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I do a lot of other stuff too, along with co-hosting this.
I am Mercedes Landazuri. I am Design Application Lead at Techmer PM. And within SPE, I'm on a few different boards, most notably counselor for Color and Appearance Division. I'm also on Recycling Division and Chicago section.
All the good ones.
Chair of Next Gen Advisory Board.
Oh yeah,
things between us.
Yeah, so this is our podcast, but it's live. We started going live last year at ANTEC. David Kasuma from Tupperware was actually our very first live episode. We did cheat and do a couple recorded ones ahead of the live one, but that's behind the scenes. When our documentary on Netflix comes out, we'll make sure to throw that tidbit in there.
Yeah, right now there's a bidding war between them and Hulu. And
always, you know, I'm kind of leaning towards Hulu these days.
I just want somebody to get it out, and then
and then we can relax.
So our podcast is was not
hard-hitting facts.
Yes, hard-hitting facts, all the facts, lots of research, and we
so much preparation.
Guests who work in the plastics industry, and then in the future also maybe some who work in industrial design. You never know, as plastics industry people, but people who are designing for plastic. But we decided to form the podcast. Well, I guess we should take a little step back and talk about how we met.
Ooh, really, I think basically we do the same things. So I just heard of you through like you coming down, like you stepping on my territory, I want to say. And basically we were kind of like just doing all the same stuff. And my husband ended up saying to me, he's like, this girl's like your nemesis. And I was like, oh, that's exactly it.
Well, I think specifically what he said, he read an article about me and then he said, she does everything but you do, but better.
Well, I was trying to make it the nicer version.
Not me, because I am your nemesis. But yeah, so we met on conference calls and finally met probably, you know, so for about 6 months, we internet stalked each other pretty good. And
God bless Google.
Yeah, you know, I had always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to do a podcast because Lynzie had been on a podcast. I found that out when I was internet stalking her.
Just saying.
And so we met at ANTEC which ANTEC did we actually meet at? California.
Anaheim. Yeah.
And then we became best friends ever since. So
/ nemesis.
Nemesis.
Don't let that slip away.
So we decided to start a podcast because we're both avid podcast listeners, and it just became this very natural thing for us, and we're very fortunate to have SPE as a sponsor. So you can always find new episodes up at forspe.org or wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google,
wherever.
Stitcher.
Come at us. Yeah, first Friday of every month, we throw a cool new podcast out there. You never know what it's going to be. To be perfectly honest, we don't know what this month's is going to be. So surprise.
And you can also find us on all the social medias at PlastChicks.
Yep.
So,
we tweet, we Instagram. Well, that, you know, like Pat was saying, every night since we've been quarantined, we do quarantinis at 9 p.m. Eastern, because I forget that there are other time zones, and I'm simply talk in Eastern time zone, and Mercedes is always
8 o'clock Central.
she's like, I'm
all
in
the
Central time.
Westerners.
What time do you want to talk? I'm like, oh, whatever. And so we usually have a drink, talk about what's been going on in the world of plastics or our own lives, or again, very fact-based, agenda-based. We don't deviate. So
Yeah,
if that's
in fact,
the kind of stuff
if
you're looking
I'm
for.
able to share my screen here for just a second, I can give you an example of one of our posts. Let me just see if you guys can.
We're going with my prettiest one, aren't we?
Yeah, we are going with your prettiest one. So I don't know if you guys can see that. But
Listen, some of us are still in the office and coming in really early.
it's ironic. I'm just going to leave that up as long as possible. But
Take it back, Ryan.
So this just came about, I think this was when we were texting during, and that is water, by the way, just so everybody on council knows. That was when we were on the
It's not water. She was drunk.
It was water.
Somebody
It was
kick
water
her
with
off.
lemon. Well, see, the ironic thing about these pictures is that I'm actually working from home and you're actually not working from home.
Yeah, I'm actually in the office because
Yeah.
we're still running stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
I was here. Well, I'm at work now, but I was there at 5 a.m. that day. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, I suppose we should stop nemesiing.
Introduce our first
We should
guest.
get into our guest. So this is a guest that we've wanted to have on for actually kind of a long time, but our schedules are, we live in two different places. It's bound to happen. And so we were planning on interviewing her this ANTEC, but then, stuff happened. And as soon as we went virtual and we thought about doing this live, we thought, what better person to bring on than Brenda Clark? So Brenda is the engineering manager at HASCO. And we'll bring her on because we got all the questions. So, hey, Brenda.
Hey, guys. Or should I say gals?
First of all, love the mold as your background.
I figured out how to put one on.
Yeah, so Mercedes, you're the only one.
Well, yeah,
It was better than my ugly kitchen. So.
Well, I'm actually sitting in my office, and this morning I did a test run, and I have a window, but I actually barricaded it with cardboard because there was like a weird light coming in. So it would have been a real awkward vibe if I didn't have a background.
I do want to mention too, we are open for questions.
Yes.
So if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the Q&A or the chat, and we will try to get to your questions as well. So Brenda, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us about your position both with HASCO and within SPE?
Certainly.
Lay it all out.
Certainly. I started in plastics. I'm not going to say what year because it's many years ago. And currently I'm working at HASCO America. We service all the mold builders and designers across the USA, as well as Canada and Mexico now. So I deal with worldwide mold builds. So it's pretty intrusive and lots of work. I enjoy it. I love being able to talk with other mold designers as well as customers and help them get the product they need, especially right now for the molds that we need to produce. So timely,
imagine.
I'm very busy, but I can take a few minutes out and chat with the PlastChicks. I love it. Along with that, I've been able to work through the years. In high school, I started it with SPE as a student member. And from there I progressed, was up in Connecticut, working with Connecticut sections, learned how to play golf, all those fun things. But also worked pretty good along with the CEO of the company that I first started with, who really showed me the ropes. He showed me how to do mold design, how to work with customers, as well as worked with molding machines and do some of the injection molding and processing. So it was a really, really good start to my career, so to speak. But with HASCO, they're really tuned into education of not only our customers, but also future generations. So they're very open for society work within their employees. So they support me fully in a lot of the venues that I've delved into. One being the Mold Technologies division approached me to work along with them on their board. And I thought it was a great honor at that point. Being a mold designer for over 30 plus years, it's been interesting to talk with all the leaders in our industry and all work together to help with getting the education scholarships going, grants for certain universities and such. So it's been a great honor to work with them. And just a few years ago, I was the chair for the division and enjoyed moving it along leaps and bounds to where it is now. We've got a lot of those programs really rolling finally. It takes a little bit for it to get moving again. There was a downfall in the last recession time, and we've built it back up and it's working really well. We even work along with other industries, associations like the Plastics Industry Association. I do some reporting for them. And I also work with the Plastics Pioneers now.
I was gonna say, you were just invited, because it's invite only, right? Isn't it fancy? Yeah, you were just invited in last year, right?
Yeah.
I got my timing right?
Yep.
What year? I don't know what year it is. It could be 2022 right now. I'm not sure.
Yep, we have a fall and a spring meeting, and I was inducted in the fall meeting.
Wow, congratulations.
Along with all the greats. You know, I'm just.
You do realize you are in that category, right?
Well,
now.
I hadn't thought of it, but everybody that I know now, prior to this virtual meeting right now, everybody that I knew in it, they were all men. Are there?
There's women. There's a handful. I'm not really up on it, but I think about a half a dozen.
Really?
Females. Yes. Yes. So I'm not the first.
Yeah. Who are the other women?
And hopefully not the last.
Now you have to list them.
Oh, yeah. No, you didn't
Way to
cut
go,
me on that one.
List every woman and when.
Yeah. So we have some questions coming in. Oh, actually, Eve Vitale is writing in all the women. Well, she says Maureen Steinwall.
Thank you, Eve.
And
Wendy. Yeah, Wendy.
Yeah. So we do have a question for you that actually relates to that a little bit. Eve asks, Eve is the executive director of Plastivan. She's actually going to be hosting, I think, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I believe.
Oh, good. I get to watch her be on the hot seat.
Right?
Yeah. In your face, Eve. So she says, Brenda, you know, the plastics industry is male-centric. Within the molding sub-industry, are there even fewer women in the
Yes.
industry at large? And if so, have there been any challenges because of that?
Fortunately, no challenges. I lie a little, but
I was like, wow,
I've always embraced them and never really had an issue. I've been very blessed that people, once they realize I know what I'm talking about,
that's the first hurdle.
kind of chill and they listen, and I can at least help them with their situation. And that's what I like to do. It's not that I'm out there trying to be, oh, I'm better than you or anything. Never. I want to work with you, and I want everybody to understand that I'm trying to do this because I have a solution, or I'm interested and I want to help you. One of the funnies, you'll get this, the molds that I helped design in the early 80s was for contact lenses for chickens.
I'm sorry, can we repeat that?
Wait.
Chicks.
Oh, PlastChicks. Wait, so but why did they? Yeah, why did they
Yeah.
need to see?
What?
And are they
They have
colorblind?
to, it's not, no, it's because they can see color and the color red. So when they see that, they get cannibalistic. So the contact lenses were actually red. They put them in the chickens, and then in the chicken houses, they don't eat each other. And they all live happily ever after.
What is this
Whoa,
underground
I knew you
chicken
all
world?
would really like that story. That's a
that
good
is
one for plastic.
wild.
But
That's
that's
insane.
it's part of what plastics does. They see a problem, they come up with a solution, and boom, we have more eggs now, more production, more
Less
chickens.
cannibal chickens.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
They'll live happily ever
all
after.
good things. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm not going to recover from that fact for a while. I think. Oh, I see. I'm all off my game now because now I just know that chickens are cannibals and destructive.
That's very terrifying. Yeah.
Right. So you've been at HASCO for 15 years.
Yep, I'm on my 16th year working now. Yes.
And so do you do a lot of travel for that? I mean, engineering manager,
Yep.
are you more of a local? Do you go out? What falls
Kind of
under your
both.
umbrella?
Jack of all trades. Answer any and all of the technical questions.
Love it.
Forward all the information that everyone needs to keep their molds running and built right and moving product. Also work at local trade shows, as well as a lot of the industry association conferences like this and meetings. Done quite a few presentations, and usually my presentations start out on a kind of fundamental edge, and then delve a little deeper into subjects like mold, anything that has to do with mold build.
Well, I feel like in general, when you are presenting to most groups, like you kind of have to, obviously it depends on who you're talking
There's
to.
a
But it's kind
wide
of,
range.
yeah,
right.
I know plastic, I know, maybe I know injection molding because it's the best molding Mercedes. Maybe I know, something else, but I feel like while mold building is like way fundamental to, every part of this industry, it's so like the knowledge base gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you get down there. The number of people that know it, I guess.
And on a fundamental base, it gets people thinking. So if they're not interested or familiar with mold build or mold design, it lets them learn more about it faster, and what they want to learn on, they can go from there. It's pretty much how I did my position at HASCO. It's kind of fill in where you're needed, and it evolves. So it's evolved, and we hold technical design meetings with customers and groups of customers, just to help them in the system with some of the complex components that go into the newer mold builds, two-stage ejection, collapsible cores.
Which leads me to a very pop culture mold question. What's trendy in mold building right now?
Getting it done in 2 weeks or less.
Well, actually, specifically,
Well,
now, so what's going on? What's going on in your HASCO world? What are some projects that you're working on, maybe pertinent to the current situation?
There's right now half a dozen COVID-19 cases. We've just delivered 2 temperature hot runner controllers, because HASCO does between the platens, the mold-based components and plates, but we also have supplies for molders. So we had the 2 controllers on order. Well, because of what's going on in the world, they needed to start up 2 injection molding machines last week. So on Friday, we delivered those way above and beyond, drove over, got them, they're up and running, and they were running within a half hour. They were tickled. Wow. So we're doing little things like that. but also supplying, like I said, the mold plates and components for any, any kind of little plastic part that goes into a respirator, from that to masks, you name it. There's plastic parts all over this for medical.
I know when this first all started, I had ordered a hot runner controller the hot runner, sorry, back in January or December, something like that. And it was probably like end of January, and they were building it in China, and they were like, and I just got this gut feeling, and I was like, I'm going to ask them about that lead time. And they were like, oh, we're shut down and we're not coming back. We've moved it to another country. And I was like, okay. And so I told my customer, and I remember them being like, okay, well, it's not like really going to impact us, is it? And I'm like, and now like looking at this, it's like, oh man, like
that's
you didn't believe me
the
then.
great thing about HASCO. We've maintained our facilities and been very careful about hand sanitizing, masks. We've actually have locations in China ourselves for distribution, and we've learned a lot from them to keep our facilities safe and open, because the stuff that we're sending to these mold builders, they need yesterday. We can't be shut down. As long as FedEx and UPS are moving, we're moving that product to who needs it.
That's the concerning one. If you shut down the delivery systems, then then I'm nervous.
And that has been a question from a lot of our customers, and we've found ways of getting it right to them direct. Cut out the middle people. We're shipping it direct.
Yeah,
they're up and running within a day or two. Everything's great.
Yeah. So that's it's been fascinating to me, and I feel like my job is finally starting to click for my family and friends.
It's only been like 5 years, right?
Actually, four years in the industry tomorrow. Wow.
I'm so sorry. I'm off by a year.
It's fun. It's funny because
your cake's in the mail.
Yeah, because my first day in the industry was April 1st, and I sat down with our old technical director and had an all-day chemistry lesson, which that was life's April Fool's joke on me, But I never took a day of science in college. But so looking at, of course, the media is really everyone's very appreciative of first responders right now, particularly in healthcare, and then also grocery store workers. But so they are our frontline workers, right? But it's really made me realize, and as I'm describing it to my friends and family, we in manufacturing are like the second line, or we're supporting, we're the ones who are really producing everything to support those industries.
Right. All of our customers are the ones who have to make it happen so that those first line responders are safe, whether it be a face mask or they're in the hospital, they have enough respirators for their patients, just regular little face masks going for the general public going into the grocery stores. It's hit here. I'm in North Carolina, and it hit here. People are finally starting to wear them when they go into the grocery stores, and that's what we heard. Wear face masks everywhere. Wash your hands constantly. Clean down the door handles of your apartments and your homes, as well as offices. Any office, anything that's shared, like a copier, clean it down once a day. You don't have to do it hourly unless you want to.
I think a lot of people want to right now.
Those are the important things.
Yeah, but so so for people in manufacturing, a lot of people are working from home if they can, but it's just, it's really I've become so much more appreciative of our people who in production who are going into the plants, and they have to, childcare and but don't want it to be so much of a bummer. I
know we're getting a little down.
Get back on the chicken thing.
Let's get back to cannibalistic chicken.
Cannibalistic chicken. So, Brenda, can you tell us about, because you had mentioned, which I did not know, that you have been an SPE member since high school.
Yeah, which cool.
1981. That is when I
like it.
graduated.
Wow. So how did you get into mold design? How did you get started specifically in mold?
I lucked out. I was in drafting in high school, and in ninth grade, I took a course. They had, I don't know what they call them now, but it's a career path course test. And it said that if I was of the male persuasion, that I should be an engineer. So I took it.
What a
My
fun.
mom was a very strong, independent lady, and so was my father. He supported us. But I said, okay, I'm going to be an engineer. And
I love it.
that was in ninth grade. And in senior year, I was introduced to a plastic mold builder, a very small one. There was like 6 employees at the time. That was the location that really did the foundation and the design. I had a excellent mentor. He saw that I had potential with my drafting. I designed within a month my first mold. It was
Dang.
a cap for the telecon at that point that you put in your house to cover contacts. It was a little tiny
Always
thing,
contacts.
but it was, yeah, it was the start of everything. They actually produced connectors for the older Commodore 64 computers, the zip connectors. So I learned quite a lot about mold design, shrinkage, and insert tolerancing. Just a really good base to my mold design. But from there, I also was able to process the tools as well to see what needed to be done on that side.
That's cool. And I guess, I mean, that's all paid off because last year you were mold designer of the year.
Yes, that was another huge honor. Didn't think, and it's kind of funny because that same company, I can remember sitting there looking at an SPE meeting notes or member notes or something about that exact honor. And I thought, man, that would be so incredible to do. And I thought, I'll never do that because I'm just sitting here in this little tiny corner of Connecticut. Nobody knows what I'm doing.
Little did you know.
And it evolved. So never say never. And I know both of you have just started and you're very early on in your career, but never say never. Never know where you're going to end up.
So, yeah, so speaking of which, you've gone through, you were at Accurate Plastic Tooling, Atlas Mold, Technical Design Service, Morrow Industries, and then you said you've been at HASCO for 15 years now?
Yep.
And so you moved from a mold designer to an engineering manager.
Yes.
Yeah, what's that crossover like?
Yes. When there was a point where I did actually raise my 2 boys in between there.
Love it.
Yeah, they're both in college now, so proud of them. And at that point, I was not doing mold design, but my husband was working and he had just lost his job because of the downsizing in 2000. So he went to a job fair and saw HASCO. And he said, oh, my wife knows how to do that, and walked away. Well, they grabbed him and they said, she knows what? So then that was history. I started when we were doing manufacturing, worked with the specials and hot runners designs and such. And since then it's just evolved. When we were doing manufacturing, I became the engineering manager just before we shut down our big manufacturing facility here. And then they kept me on during the 09 crunch. I worked part-time, and that's when I was raising my boys, but working part-time. So it really worked out. They've been super working with me and allowing me to just kind of evolve this whichever way it's going to evolve. And we've always worked really well together, and I love working there.
I love hearing you say that you're working part-time because actually I'm working at Tech Tank part-time because I also have 2 boys, not in college though. slightly on the
Yeah.
younger scale. But, you know, when I first was looking for a position, I wanted something part-time so I could spend, you know, some time at home with my kids, but also not leave this
Mhm.
industry.
Right.
And I contacted a couple headhunters because, you know, like I think we all get the headhunters being like, I got jobs for you. And I told both of them, they'd been hounding me for like months. And I told both of them, you know, I'm looking for a part-time position, you know, whatever, I'll take whatever. And I didn't hear back from either one of them. They were like, nope. They're like, if you wanted full-time, we could give you something. If you want part-time. And I'm like, you don't think there's no one interested in possibly like,
Right.
we're a good enough candidate. I mean, I'm not great, but I'm good enough. You know,
So-
to like,
Now don't sell yourself short. Obviously,
well,
they saw
my boss
something.
isn't
That's
listening, so we're fine.
Hey, can you hear though? Brock, Lindsay's amazing.
Brock, go away.
No, so we're running out of time. I wanted to wrap up with just a couple of poll
Oh,
questions
man.
for our audience here. And actually, I did have a question from Tim Haka, first time listener, long time SPE member.
Where are you seeing these questions?
But he said it's in the Q&A. He said, I assume a dangerous thing that you are female. Are you trying to get into and known by sororities at universities to showcase? You did, in fact, assume incorrectly. PlastChicks, Lynzie and myself, but we do have a lot of male guests on. As Lynzie mentioned, our first interview was actually with David Kusuma from Tupperware.
Yeah.
But getting into our poll questions, Sue, Ryan, or whoever or Deb, if you can put out the first poll question for the audience. We want to know from everyone.
Hard-hitting news.
Hard-hitting news. Are you working from home? Yes or no? Are we able to send that out?
No, we don't have poll questions.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Then we will just think
All right.
about it.
Next time. But yeah, basically it was just trying to find out if you're working from home and if you're wearing actual pants, sweatpants, shorts, and yoga pants don't count. And
Oh, Tim did say yes, he is working from home. But I don't
Okay.
know if that was a yes to wearing sweatpants.
oh, it looks like we're getting some answers from people. Yes, yes, yes. So if you're wearing pants, just type pants. If you're not wearing pants, just type no pants. If you're wearing sweatpants, shorts, or yoga pants, just type no pants.
Aaron Keeney's wearing pants. Eva Talley's wearing lounge pants. I like her style.
Gee, if you're
Pants.
wearing a fashion kimono, if you're wearing anything fun, let us.
I mean, I'm only wearing I'm wearing jeans and the rest of my outfit, but I have to wear jeans because I'm in the office. Again, kind of a bummer. Otherwise, this would be a zip up onesie all the way.
Working at home, we have very strict social distancing at work and just had to do that. But it works.
Love it.
Well, Lindsay, you gave me a great idea for my next outfit for next Tuesday. I'm going to wear my all jeans outfit. So
Perfect.
Canadian 3-piece tuxedo, actually. So
Listen, we do it big.
jeans, jean jacket, jean shirt, and maybe a bolo tie if you're lucky.
If you could ship mine, then we could match in our bolos.
Yeah. So everyone, thanks so much for joining us. We have a great session that's going to be starting, I believe, Sutliff in a bit here.
Brenda, thanks for joining us. You are awesome and amazing and mold designer of the year. So
Thanks for having me.
that.
Thanks, Brenda. Man, look at all these people just showing off with their pants.
Flexing, man.
No, did get one no pants working from home.
Hey, listen, it's
Oh,
your
sure.
house.
Oh, we have an anonymous attendee. Well played, working from home and wearing pajama pants. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. We will see you
Next Tuesday.
same time, same bat channel. And
Not same Brenda. Different.
not same Brenda. We're gonna have a
Wait,
different.
that's why it's mirrored.
Who is our guest next week?
You're gonna make
to
me
it.
look up things.
it's
SP
fine.
will announce it. We'll all remember. Oh, it's Chad Alvin from C2
Oh,
Renew.
Chad Alvin. Good
There
stuff.
we go.
Good stuff. And then tune in if you'd like to join us for a quarantini. We're on
9 p.m.
Instagram Live every night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and 6 p.m. West Coast. And then I don't know about
Greenwich time. I don't know.
If you've got a question, the voices of Resona here. Oh, PlastChicks.
Woo!
Nice job as always, guys. Thank you. Well done.